What's up, weirdos? You may or may not have noticed a disturbing but intriguing image circulating online recently. Avert your eyes if you get a little queasy. That, according to the captions, is the mummified head of Josephine Rosenthal, and also according to the captions, it's the first nun on record to ever be possessed. This is quite a story, so let's go gallivanting. Josephine Rosenthal was a nun who was born and raised in the Rosenthals monastery in the 1700s. Rosenthals was a nunnery that was founded in 1704 in Bavaria, Germany, and was a popular place for religious pilgrimages. In 1742, one of the nuns, Josephine Rosenthal, became pregnant. Now, she was loved by the villagers in the community, but was quickly ostracized by them because they saw her pregnancy as a reason to question her faith. And as a result, the nunnery became isolated from the village. But Josephine was born and raised in Rosenthals and had no male contact until she met the abbot 6 months into her pregnancy. She was examined, and it was determined that she was indeed pregnant and was indeed a virgin. So then it was deemed that this was to be a virgin birth, or more officially known as Immaculate Conception. That couldn't get blown out of proportion, right? This declaration did come with some beneficial changes. Josephine was moved from the nunnery to a more public place where people can pray for her. And the church did see this as a positive event, as they deemed it the second coming of Christ. There it is. At 8 months, Josephine gave birth. Severe blood loss ensured that she wouldn't survive the event, but the baby did, and she was named Maria. Fitting! Surely this wouldn't cause any inappropriate letdowns or actions. The baby was welcomed with open arms by the other nuns in the monastery, but the gender was female, and that didn't coincide with the prophecy, so the church was displeased. In fact, they were so displeased that they asked the abbot to take Maria out of the public eye in an effort to make people forget about her, by way of telling his congregation that the baby didn't survive the birth. The abbot did reluctantly agree. There it is. Ignoring that agreement, Maria was publicly raised by the nuns of the convent, garnering attention and a following from the local villagers in Bavaria. Any guesses on whether the church was happy about this? They were so unhappy that they denounced her holiness and declared that any worship of her in any way was an act of heresy. Now, the congregation of Maria had already proven to be a defiant bunch, so this wasn't going to stop them from continuing. They became pioneers for feminism, and Maria even wrote 2 treatises regarding original sin and the condemnation of women, both of which were turned down for revision by the church, because of course they were. Around her 33rd birthday, Maria became ill with something that was unable to be diagnosed, and she succumbed to the sickness. Now, predictably, the combo of her age and the impossibility of diagnosis led her congregation to believe that this was the second death of the holy progeny. And what better way to pay homage to her than to remove the front part of her skull, mummify it, and put it in a display box with a vial of her blood, a lock of her hair, and a piece of her second treatise. Apparently there's no other way, because that's exactly what was done. Maria's remains were moved between individuals after the Rosenthals monastery was dissolved as a result of the secularization of Bavaria in 1803. Now, the shuffling stopped at around 1905, when her remains fell into the hands of researchers to be examined. But it wasn't until the 1950s that her DNA was studied, and an interesting discovery was made. Turned out, both Maria and Josephine Rosenthal were part of a rare lineage that consisted of hermaphrodites, which explained the so-called Immaculate Conception. There goes science ruining everything again. Nonetheless, the story of the Rosenthals sparked inspiration for various artists, from an obscure metal band to a notable modern sculptor. That image of Maria's mummified face has made quite the trip around cyberspace, and comes with a caption that claims that she was the first nun on record to be possessed. But many attempts hit a dead end when it comes to that part of her history. And that's because of that modern sculptor. Alex C.F. is a brilliant artist and the creator of the Maryland Cryptid Museum, where he showcases many of his bizarre and macabre sculptures, including a vampire hunting kit and that famous nun's face, all of which come with their own story. That's right, this entire story is an art piece. Alex C.F.'s work is a fantastic example of how legends and folklore are made, and the kind of things that we weirdos love here. We all do love a good story, and despite knowing its true origins, this will certainly continue to haunt us and pique our curiosities, as the best stories of folklore and legends so effectively do.